All right, example 9 is a you try it down here. You're supposed to write out these 6 trig functions from memory. All right, so I'm going to have you pause in just a second and do that. And remember, you're going to have to know these. In our notes, at the very end of the exam 1 material, if I can get there, we have, let's see, exam 1 material, scroll, here we go. The very end of the exam 1 material, almost there, almost there, almost there. We have a list of things that you're going to need to know. So we've got a list right here. We're going to have to know these in order to be prepared for exam 1. So we've got to have these trig functions memorized. You've also got that unit circle that we've started working on, and we're going to keep talking about. They're going to be 2 huge important things to have memorized. But you got these 2 pages, the end of exam 1 material. Make sure you know those. It might be time to pull out the flashcards. Really start memorizing these, because exam 1 is going to be difficult to do if you don't know those trig functions. So without looking at that page, take a second, and maybe without looking up above here, take a second, pause, and see if you can remember what those 6 trig functions are. So go ahead and hit pause. All right, coming back from that. There are lots of different ways to remember. You can go on YouTube, you can Google the 6 trig functions, and you're gonna get lots of cute songs and sayings to remember it. I remember, I think I told you guys how I learned them. I think I'm gonna be out of space. This is how I learned them, SOHCAHTOA. So, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And tangent, the T down here, is, oops, my A didn't finish writing, is opposite over adjacent. Then, our inverse trig functions are just the opposite. Oops. I say it was opposite, but then I didn't write it. We flip these guys. So sine, if you flip the numerator and denominator, you're left with cosecant. Cosine, if you flip the numerator and denominator, you get secant. And tangent, you flip it, you get cotangent. All right, let's go ahead and continue on to the next page. We're going to keep all these ideas the same. But like I mentioned before, we're going to apply these to the unit circle itself. So we've got this picture here, and you can see we've got a circle with a hypotenuse of 1. That's what makes it a unit circle. And you can see we've got like a triangle right there. Oops, squished it too far. There we go. All right. So I'm going to take those same trig functions that we did just a second ago and apply them to the unit circle. So just a second ago, I said the sine was opposite over hypotenuse, adjacent over hypotenuse for cosine, and then opposite over adjacent for tangent. And then I flipped these, did the reciprocal on the other side. Now, I'm going to apply the same concept to my triangle over here in the unit circle. I'm trying to make it bigger. I'll make it bigger and then scooch back over. In this case, theta is my angle right here. So 1 is the hypotenuse, just like we saw on the last page. Y is the opposite, and X is the adjacent. So just everywhere I see opposite, I'm going to put Y. Everywhere I see adjacent, I'm going to put X. And everywhere I see hypotenuse, I'm going to put 1. So opposite was Y, hypotenuse is 1. So that's just Y. Adjacent was X, hypotenuse is 1. So that's X over 1. Oops. And then tangent, opposite is Y. So here's the opposite is Y. And adjacent is X. And then it's that reciprocal. So for the cosecant, it's going to be 1 over Y. Then 1 over X. And then X over Y. So these are the same ideas of opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse, just applied to a unit circle. And we're going to see an example in the next problem. So again, just to make sure we're on the same page, I'm going to see if I can find that again. The end of Unit 1 notes, you'll see what we've been working on was this opposite over hypotenuse, but now we've got y over, in our case, the radius was 1, so I'll put a 1 there. We're going to get to some problems, not in today's, but next class we're going to get to some problems where we have a radius that is not 1. But for today, everything's just going to be 1 for our radius. So with the example that I'm looking at. All right, so back over, here we are, to this example 1. I'm going to use the stuff up above, and for this point, I've got, this is going to be x, this is going to be y. Alrighty here. All right, and it's on the unit circle. So when it's on the unit circle, I know the radius is 1. Right, I'm going to do one where that's not the case, but on the unit circle. The sign is just, remember, y. So that is just 2 over 3. The cosine is the x value, so that's the square root of 5 over 3. The tangent is y over x. So that would be 2/3 divided by square root of 5 over 3. Those 3's cancel, and I'm left with 2 over the square root of 5. Remember MyMathLab, you can keep going. You can get 2 square roots of 5 over 5. You don't have to, but you can keep going. And then we've got our flip functions on the other side. So these are the ones that I want you guys to try. So really and truly, if you haven't been pausing to try them, make sure you do. Remember in class, I always have you guys try some, and I come around, see how you're doing. I need you to kind of do that here on your own. I can't come around and see you, but make sure to take some responsibility. Pause the video here and see if you can get these cosecants, secants, and cotangents. All right, let's see how you did. Remember, they are just that flip. So looking up here at the top, cosecant is 1 over y. So that's 1 over 2/3. And you keep the top, change the multiplication, flip the bottom. So we're just left with 3/2. In fact, you could have come over here and just flipped and got 3/2. So knowing that, I could come to the next one and just say, oh, this is going to be 3 over the square root of 5. And then cotangent, if I flip, I'm going to end up with the square root of 5 over 2. Again, if you want to, MyMathLab is going to rationalize these, so we would take either answer. Rewind, make sure to fill in your notes, watch as many times as you need to, and then know that you can come get help. You can go to the Math Learning Center, you can go to Math Outreach Hours, you can email me, you can come to office hours. All of those times are listed on our Moodle page under tutoring times. They're all up and going now, so feel free to take advantage of any of them.